The Pigeon Dowsing Experiment at Ramsbottom. By Rupert Sheldrake. On the morning of Sunday, September 22, 1996. An experiment was carried out in Nuttall Park, Ramsbottom, Lancs, to find out whether it was possible to dowse the direction and distance of the home of homing pigeons. The idea for this experiment came from a Swedish professor, Carl-Elam, who is both an expert on birds and a dowser. He found that with migratory birds captured for ringing, he could dowse the direction in which the birds were going to migrate. He did this by walking around the birds and detecting a kind of field stretching out from the birds in the direction of their destination. A preliminary experiment in Ramsbottom with Jim Longton as dowser, conducted on May 1, 1996. Involved 4 baskets of pigeons brought by David Hilton from lofts of members of local pigeon racing associations. David did not reveal to anyone present, including myself, where the baskets were from, and Jim dowsed them to try and find out where the pigeons' homes were. With 2 out of 4 baskets he got the direction quite close to the actual direction, and in one case his reading was almost exactly opposite the correct direction. His estimate of distance was also quite accurate. In all cases he was within a mile of the actual distance, and in one case within 200 yards of the actual distance. These encouraging results formed the background for this larger-scale experiment. In this experiment there were 8 baskets of pigeons provided by members of local pigeon racing associations, and once again David Hilton kindly arranged for these baskets to be brought to Nuttall Park. He did not tell me or anyone else where the baskets were from, and they were simply labelled 1 to 8 and placed on the grass in Nuttall Park behind a hedge, which screened them from view from the assembled dowsers, who waited near the car park. The dowsers then came, one at a time, to dowse the baskets and pointed with their rods in the direction in which they thought the pigeons' homes lay. With the help of a compass, I noted down these directions and also recorded the estimates of distance they gave. Not all dowsers estimated the distance, and on 3 occasions were unable to decide the direction. None of the dowsers were able to see what answers the others gave, and David Hilton and the other pigeon fanciers who were present did not reveal where any of the baskets were from. Nor were they nearby when the dowsers were doing their tests. This experiment was therefore carried out blind. Unfortunately, there was a considerable delay in getting the information about the exact locations of the lofts from which the pigeons had come, but now this information is available. The results of the experiment are shown in the tables. The directions given by dowsers that I have marked with an asterisk were within 45 degrees of the correct direction. Those marked with 2 asterisks were within 45 degrees of the opposite direction. In order to estimate the accuracy, I have taken 45 degrees on either side of the correct direction, or on either side of the opposite direction. This is because Jim and other dowsers have found that sometimes their rod will point in a particular line, but they do not know which direction along that line the target is, and hence sometimes get answers that are out by 180 degrees. In order to count as a hit, the estimate has to fall within a 90 degrees arc. That means there is 1 chance in 4, or 25%, of being right by chance. If we include the 90 degrees arc around the opposite direction as well, then there is 1 chance in 2, or 50%, of being right by chance. In fact, if we take all the guesses of all the dowsers, 19% were within the 90 degrees arc around the correct direction and 13% opposite. These figures are both below the chance level of 25%. Taken together give 32%, compared with the 50% chance level. In other words, the results do not show an accuracy greater than the chance level. The 2 dowsers with the highest scores were Jim Longton and Mavis Brown. In terms of estimating the distance, Jim Longton was the most successful, and in one case, number 6, was within 0.1 mile of the correct distance. This experiment shows that it is difficult to dowse the homeward direction of pigeons reliably. This is not surprising, if only because this is a new task that no dowser has had any practice in. and is pushing the possibilities of dowsing to the limits. I have recently had a letter from a dowser in Sweden who says that he thinks the influence stretching from the pigeon to the home is likely to be in a very narrow band, only an inch or two wide, and detectable only in the direct line between the pigeon and the home. This would involve dowsing close to the pigeons, rather than dowsing from several feet above them as in the Ramsbottom experiment. It is therefore possible that with practice and modified dowsing techniques an accurate assessment of the pigeon's homeward direction could be obtained. But this is very much an open question, and I hope that the Swedes will let me know of any experiments they carry out on this subject in Sweden. In a final note added by the BSD editor. Although this initial experiment in England did not produce significant results, it appears to be a promising field for further research, including improved techniques.